place within the indigo shield on this planet and within the part of the indigo shield that is called the Aqualine shield on this planet. If we think of the indigo tribal shield as a large shield, and each little dot on that shield is a person that walks around with a gene code in a body that is connected to that tribal race shield. And in the center of the indigo shield, there is a small, very powerful shield that has very specialized coding that is called the Aqualine shield. The Aqualine shield is the conduit through which those that carry the Aquari codes, or the Aquari humans, are connected to. And you can be indigo or angelic human to be, connected to the Aqualine shield. The Aqualine shield was set a very long time ago in the event that this system was going to go into full bardo and fall, and there was still a life field left here that had the potential for Christic eternal life evolution, where they could still get out. The Aqualine shield has the ability to host, by activating itself as a collective on planet, to host the Rashale body activation levels of Earth. Earth can't activate its Rashale body anymore because of the damage that's done to its core and the damage that's done to its grids. But there is a force on this planet, part of which is the indigo shield, and the core of that indigo shield, the Aqualine shield, carries the codes to when it activates. It can literally create a replica and hold Earth in a replica of what its own natural Rashale body activation would be if it were capable, if the planet were capable of doing that. The people that are drawn to find out what that workshop's about, or to go to that class, or to come to this trip to Peru, there's a certain call that was sent out in frequency, not in words, that has to do with the Aquari human coding. If you have Aquari human coding in your DNA, you probably don't know it. Most people don't know what's in their DNA except what came from their mom and dad. The Aquari human coding and the people who carry it are connected to the Aqualine shield. Your DNA is activating. The Aqualine codes within your DNA are activating. You are part of a team whether you recognize it or not. And that team is the on-planet ground team, ground crew, that will hold the host. It is holding the respirator line in to the planetary core at this point. If the larger scope of what this trip is about might feel overwhelming if you're just getting involved in the work or something, it also has an extremely significant personal aspect too. Because if you were here, you are connected to the Aqualine shield and the Aquari human codes, or you just wouldn't, you would have bounced off the trip. For some reason or another, you just wouldn't have ended up here. That means your DNA is activating. Whether you ever found this work or not, it still is, because the Aqualine shield is activating. It means you're part of a very large Christic team that still has ascension potential, so much ascension potential that it can hold open the ascension potential for the other life forms on this planet. If it weren't for what had taken place over the period of March 15th to March 25th, we would have had a much longer potential of ascension evacuation from this planet than we have now, because of what occurred with the solar gates, with the solar core gates. Because our sun, Sol, entered solar bardo, and it began its bardo cycle. There are about 500 to 1,000 years left before it goes from the bardo cycle to the next natural stage, which is its nova cycle. If it weren't for the intervention, because during a bardo cycle, once the core prana seed closes and the core gates close, there starts to an energy reverb starts to occur within the body, the planetary body or the solar body that is experiencing bardo, and gamma wave bursts start to emanate out from the core, and they get stronger and stronger. These are the death throes of, that you hear about pertaining to like people, because people go through bardo too when they die and they transition out of their physical body. But in terms of a sun going into its bardo cycle, it means it will begin to cycle its gamma wave, they call them ring waves, that come out in rings from the core. They start slow and then they build progressively. The beloveds have said that if it weren't for the intervention of the Aquarian host, which involves something called the Aqualine sun, activation of the Aqualine sun field within the Earth's body and also within the sun's body. If it weren't for that, we would have about 50 years left on this planet before the radiation levels being thrown at us from the sun as it goes through Bardo would fry everything on the planet, and nobody would get out because we would all die of radiation poisoning. So the intervention that's being done now not only will keep open the potential for ascension from this planet for the next 500 to 1,000 years for the life forms that are still here. I mean, even if we get to go, there's still, you know, our children or our children's children, children's children, all of that. There are still a lot of life forms left on this planet. They still have time to evolve. The Aqualine sun that we will talk about at various times in various contexts during this, this trip, and which we will activate the first level of on the planet by the end of this trip, it is because that Aqualine sun buffer field that both Earth and the sun will have a buffer field of transmutation around them, so we will not get wiped out by the gamma bursts. So instead of just having 50 years left before the radiation is so strong that nothing is going to be able to live here, we still have that 500 to 1,000 year window on this planet for evolution. That is one of the other benefits that are coming from the intervention that is being given by the Aquarian races. Excuse me. So, we are in the middle of something really huge. And if it seems huge to anybody that's new, or even 12 tribe people who have been through that and they're still kind of going, oh boy, right?